You guys want me to cover offense on this map, or like kind of like a defense?
All.
Because on 5CP, there's both. You guys are gonna have to deal with kind of. I'll just go through the points. I'll go through just kind of both, I guess, as we go through. I do it many different ways, and some teams like me to cover. Like, it's interesting how 5CP works, but I think we'll just go chronologically. So on the rollout, you guys can choose where to go. The meta is usually on the right side. I'm not going to tell you the rollout because it's pretty much for everybody is different, but basically just make sure you get to mid first as demo. If you have like a fast roamer, he'll be there with you. I always play here on the right and usually try to get high ground. On the mid fights, you guys want to make sure you trap off their pack and stuff like that, and just make sure your team, if you have soldiers, make sure that they get the high ground here. You can have like a soldier bomb on top of this this patio here, and then you can just have them like kind of rain down on their team. If they choose to roll out lower, and then they go on the left here, that's kind of a win for you guys. If the demo tries to take the pack, because you guys can just flood in here, and this is kind of a choke point. Yeah, rolling out on the right side is just playing mids. You guys have high ground here. Your scouts can play up here and just try to wrap them. Thing that teams do when we played our official in Villa is that they have a scout always go underneath, kind of in the sewer, and try to focus like our mid and our demo and our combo. So just be watchful of that. Just have like one of your scouts if you're doing the traditional meta, or like whoever your combo member is just watching under. So you guys should win that mid fight. If they play like on the left side here, then just basically start focusing, call focuses and stuff like that. Just make sure you kind of focus their whoever's closest. Like if there's a soldier who is bombing, make sure you guys get him first. If there's a scout Katsu or something like that, you guys can take him out easy peasy. Our team likes to run the traditional meta for a lot of 5CP maps. We'll have sometimes 3 scouts and 1 soldier, 1 demo, 1 mid. But for the most part, the regular 6's meta has worked out pretty well for our team. And we just have our soldiers bomb, our scouts go in, our demo likes to focus right side here, and we just kind of walk this way. And usually it works because, I mean, if they're running something else like a heavy who will be slow to mid, which is not like a viable plan if you're doing 5CP, by the way. But if they have something like Pyro, then you guys can just start focusing in their combo and just collapse on them. And usually that works. So after you guys cap mid, make sure, or if you guys wipe them, then you guys kind of know the same thing with traditional 6's. You guys have a scout, just one person on the point, and you guys can all rush. If they lose players but they get out majority of their team, then you guys can just kind of stack point here and it's all pushed together. You can send a few members, probably like over here on the flank, and just try to spam this. I wouldn't overcommit here. I mean, my combo first off would normally play and choke here, and just kind of wait here once we have Uber at or something like that. If we have that, we can just go in. If Uber's even, then you guys can try to send like maybe a sack or something like that. But for the most part, I think you guys should be able to DM your way through this. We've never really had to send sacks in because people usually get caught. Like if you can catch like a flank member or something like that here, maybe your soldier and your scout is here or something like that, or whoever is on the flank. But usually, I mean, if you guys, destroy a majority of their players and your med's counting Ubers and you guys add, you can just go back, just contest second here. Usually what I do is demo is I have my med flash me first and I go for a bomb with my scouts and soldiers, and we just kind of flood this point here. You guys can also play it like just kind of, you can like flash your soldiers if you have a soldier at all. You can just have a soldier go bomb in for point or something like that. Try to get in the force. Maybe if you guys are at like even Ubers, and then just kite this and just go back in with Uber. And then for the most part, it's always good just to play choke here. I think this is just the fastest way you can get to second. You guys can try to push through the flank route. If there's too many people in choke, you can like send in a soldier here just to peek this, and if it's clear, you guys can start flooding through here and just trying to trap off Shedder. It's good to like trap off Shedder so they can't escape, and then you guys just try to take them point. Besides that, I think that's pretty much second and mid there. You guys want to make sure that you just have all your players and you're just playing on your combo. If you guys are indeed running a Pyro, then that will make things a little bit more difficult. If you guys have at least one soldier this map is pretty good, just because of all the choke points and like just explosive classes in general. Good for spamming out like chokes and mids and stuff like that. So I'd recommend like having a soldier with you guys. Doesn't have to be 2. You guys can have as many as you want. Maybe just 1 is fine. But scouts on this map are really good as well. Of course, for cap time, you should always have a scout on 5CP, in my opinion. So once you guys cap second here, I would recommend you guys can already start pushing lobby. It's really important on 5CP, just like the tempo, to count Ubers. You know, if you guys catch their med, then you guys should all be forward together. If they have Uber ad, then you guys need to work on like going for exchanges. So if you guys take point here, I would start pressuring lobby immediately. Just watch for traps and stuff, because sometimes demos like to put up traps on this map and stuff like that. What my team always does is we usually play in lobby here. Just once we cap second, they back out to last, and then we start holding lobby here. Usually we'll go for an exchange and just try to make sure we force their med. We have a soldier go in first and flash the soldier. If they have a gun, we usually just kind of like get their med forced and then just try to go in on that gun. There's a whole bunch of places you guys can go. You guys can go through shutter, you can go through right, you can go through left. Make sure you have like maybe like a scout or something who's peeking and saying, all right, they're on the left side, they're on the right side, we can go on the right or left or wherever. Common sentry spots for engineers, usually sometimes on the left here, some engineers like to put like a gun kind of right here behind this plant, just kind of watching point and watching the right side. Another good placement for a gun, sometimes engineers like to kind of turtle this and just put it back here behind the point. So when you guys are capping, you have to take out that gun. And then on the right side too, some guns like to be like right here, so it can watch lower, can watch shutter, can watch kind of left side. And then of course on the right, it's protected for the most part. So just make sure you guys are calling where that stuff is if they have an engineer. And then just play it like normal sixes, you know, just play with your team. If you guys have ad, you should just go in and just use, you know, try to get their med and just try to force them out. I mean, the best places that my team always does is sometimes we just go through the 3 spots here is just left, right, mid. Rarely ever we go under, because this is like a really, really good spamming point for defense. They just sit like a demo or a soldier who you guys get pretty much focused. So plus for sentry, you guys will watch out for that. You don't really have a good angle there. So, I mean, that's good for back caps. Like if you have a scout, you guys all wipe and like there's a scout down there and they don't check lower, then that's fine. You get a back cap off that. But for the most part, I would say just, you know, call Ubers, call sentry placements, and you guys can go on the right, left, or mid. And just make sure if they have a gun, just get your demo, get your soldier or something like that, and spam gun. There you guys go. And then you cap. Okay. So if you guys choose to come on the left side, usually our team rolls out on the right just because it's easiest to play there, but you guys may want to roll out on the left side too or something like that. I would just say make sure you play with your combo or something like that. If you have your med roll out with you, choke. You can come here, get the pack, and then just start focusing their combo. Depending on where their combo rolls out, like if you come to choke first, then you'll be a lot closer to the point than their combo is if they roll out on like the right side, they say. And so you guys get like the benefit of being able to focus them, and you know, you can have like fast bombs and stuff like that, try to get their med. And that's also a good plan too, if you guys want to roll out on the left, if you guys want to be fast and try to fast bomb them. I know sometimes this ramp, like soldier can do like one here, or something like that, and then bomb in. And that's up to you guys. My team, personally, we like the high grounds. We always play on the right side. And usually, I don't think we've lost on Villa, so yeah, that just works for us. So when you guys like lose on the mid fight, say you guys, you know, you're playing here and your team rolls out on the right, you guys get high ground, but there's like scouts who are just focusing your combo, your scouts die, your soldiers die, you know, somebody craters or something like that. You guys should just back out. And I mean, like, you guys should know when this happens. It doesn't really have to be called, but it's good to be called. Just back out so your team knows, whoever's alive. And I would say you guys can play it like really, really passive on med, depending on on second. Depending on how many people you lost, kind of determines how forward you guys are. If you guys lose your med, they have their med, they have full Uberad, you guys should just back out and hold last. Really no point in staying second and just kind of, you know, wiping there, because you'll definitely wipe if they have full out. Another alternative is maybe your med gets out, you live, it's like your demo scout soldier. You guys should hold that passive here, because, you know, if they don't drop a lot of players, they might all come through choke here, and if it's just you three, you guys might get focused. But for the most part, when you're kind of holding second, it's good just to kind of like be able to see, you know, left, right. I always hold kind of like right here in this angle and just kind of put traps on the steps if I can. So it just kind of blocks their combo, or at least slows them down when they're trying to walk down. Forces either soldiers to bomb or somebody to clear those sticks, which is good. They could also go through like the flank route on the right side, which is something I said on offense before, and so just make sure you guys have players who are focused. You could, if you really wanted to, have like a soldier or a scout just kind of watch the flank, very lightly. You know, don't dive for this, but just kind of watch this and call if they're walking in. If they do walk in, you can just back up. You can just circle around and play through combo again and get ready for them. And that's the thing too, is like sometimes if people want to, if your flank is like peeking, if you guys are all in mid and your flank's peeking through the right side, you know, and they see players there, they probably won't call the push to that angle. So that's good too if you want to like sit a soldier or scout up there. For a second, I guess you could run a heavy. Just be aware of, you know, if you guys are running off classes and stuff like that. You know, heavy is very difficult, except for maybe around last or second if you're holding like passive. I would not recommend a heavy on the mid fight just because he's so slow and he can't really get there in time. So if you guys want to run like a sniper on this point, this is very, very good too because the sight lines. Because I mean, no matter what, players will have to cross your sight line to get to this point, as long as you're standing somewhere in the middle here. So sniper's pretty good. Heavy on second point works. It does. I've seen it before. You had stop pushes, so if you just put it through combo, kind of sit back here, ready to walk out, you should be fine. If you guys want to run an engineer on second point, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that just because of players like this is a really good spam angle. You can just you can be spammed out very. NG is really good on last, and I think that's pretty much it. Because usually our NG, as soon as we win the last fight, like we get pushed back to last, our NG has a gun up. It, you know, and cap second, go play mid. Is there any questions so far about any classes or any parts on this map that I didn't cover? Yeah, so I would say on like, I would say if you want to run a 2-medic strat on 5 CP, it might not work out that well because just 5 CP is so DM oriented in terms of like, you guys need to be counting Uber ads and stuff like that, making sure your whole team goes in. If you want to run like a Vax med or a Quick Fix med, in addition to a crits med, you can try that, but that puts a lot more pressure on your DM classes and stuff like that to destroy their enemy team. So I would say like if you want to run like a 2-med strat, that would best work on probably payload maps. Like my team does that on Vigil and Upward. We did that. We had like a Quick Fix med, you know, just pocketing our demo, and then our we had like a crits med and an Uber med on Upward first and stuff like that. So you could run 2-med strats, but from what I've seen in terms of just 6s in general, like no restriction, it doesn't really work out. For your composition, though, I mean, you can do pretty much everything. Just watch out for like all the slow classes, like, you know, heavy running him to mid is not all that great just because of how slow he is, and you know, by the time he gets here, your team is destroyed and out, or like, you know, you wiped them and you guys are moving on. So, sniper's good on this map, though. I mean, you could run a perma sniper. But at least having like, you know, at least some of the meta, you know, just having like a soldier or a scout for points and like a demo or a med is really... I wouldn't necessarily critique any minigun you guys run, except for maybe the VAC. I don't know if that would work all that great in terms of like the speed you guys want to go out. I mean, counting Uber out and stuff like that, and the VAC has a hard time doing buffs for people. Like it takes a while for people to get heals, so I would not recommend VAC for any 5 CP map. Really ever in no restriction. Quick Face is fine though, and I would say crits is good too if you think you guys can get kills with that, but Uber is the meta for a reason, so I would definitely recommend that above all. Yeah, double demo, I would say, yeah. I mean, our team ran double demo on Villa when we played, and we won that. Maps are a little bit tighter, like Coal Plant. I would say, you know, for a lot of the Koth maps, or like Sunshine with all the choke points is good for double demo as well. But for Villa, I mean, yeah, you guys could run double demo and just kind of spam out choke points, and It's actually pretty good too, because if you want to send in like a, you can also do demo bombs. So if you don't have a soldier and you want to run double demos, you can also just send into like a flasher demo and he bombs in, like on second, try to get him a force and stuff like that, and then you force your Uber, and that might work too. So yeah, double demo strat, totally fine. Our team at one point ran 2 demos. I think it was 2 demos, 3 scouts, and 1 med. And that worked out fine. So it's just whatever works best for your team, really, which is the option. Or the awesome thing about no restriction is that, like, I guess the blessing and a curse is that you guys can play any class you want, but it also means you kind of have to adapt to what the other team has. So, for example, if they run like all heavies, running demo is pretty good to counter those heavies. Or if they run all scouts and stuff like that, you guys could try to, maybe run sentries or something like that. So yeah, just and those don't apply for Villa, just in general. But yeah, double demo strat could work. You guys could also have like 4 scouts, 1 demo, 1 medic. That works as well. Having at least 1 explosive class though, and like somebody to back up with explosive damage is really good, because like me and our soldier for choke point on mids, it's very spammable. This little hallway here, so it's very good to have like a demo spamming this, locking it out, pushing or defending, and then like a soldier to follow up that damage too for bombs. So the side area with the fountains, yeah. I actually don't remember the call out for this, but I guess you can call this like fountain area if you want. You can just call it that, or like, shit. My teammates would definitely know the call out for this one, but I haven't used this call out enough to remember it. But yeah, I guess you guys can call it whatever you want, just as long as your team knows what it is. Once I remember the call, I'll definitely tell you. Pushing here, yeah, sometimes you could try to go lower, and then this is also a good spot, like if you want to send in a double bomb, and like maybe they have a sniper and something like that, you don't want to peek the sight line, you could send in a demo here and just kind of bomb their combo. Usually, like, you can call it bathhouse or something. I'm pretty sure is the call for it. Sorry, I wish I remember. But usually I've seen a lot of players, like soldiers or scouts, who, if you guys are like playing on the mid, maybe win the mid fight, they might send some players to rotate back and try to annoy the hell out of you. Like maybe when you're trying to push, they can send a soldier to flank you guys, and he can walk around and just drop your med or something like that. That happened to us one time. Our med didn't drop, but he got forced because they had a soldier rotate around into this bathhouse area, and we were going to push through choke, and we were waiting, and then he comes in and just forces our med. Then we're forced to go in, or we're forced to back out. So you guys know to watch out for that. Maybe just have people clear this area, make sure it's like it's clean, nobody's there, and then you guys can start pushing. But I would definitely watch out for the area if you guys like win the mid fight or are pushing mid. Just making sure you watch out for players who are lingering down there. Bathhouses, I'm pretty sure what the call is for. But in terms of callouts, I mean, this is just choke. You can call this whole area yard. Obviously, this is like second. You can just call it second. And then in here is lobby. This is lobby. You can just say right lobby, left lobby, lower. This is lower down here. This is, and then all this is just yard again, and then last. Is there any more questions about like a class specific stuff for call?
Well, would you mind answer his question first?
Okay, anything on medic positioning / cover from mid? Yeah, so I would just say play behind your combo. Like if you have a demo and your scouts are here, if you're running the traditional metal, just playing with your demo, playing with your scouts, and just kind of playing it a little bit back. Don't know the range of your heal beam, because a lot of times we had the problem of our med playing in front of our team. So like our med would be like here, and our demo and like our soldiers would be back here, and he's very easy to bomb or just single focus. So make sure you're playing behind your team, know the range of your beam, and just just walk with your team, but don't walk in front of them. I would say, like, if you roll out on the right side, there is no real cover for you, to protect from bombs. So you'll have to kind of watch out for that. You could play like on the right side here, just try to like get some sort of high ground so they can't just absolutely decimate you. If you're rolling out through choke, like your team goes through left side, I guess it'd be good to like kind of stand maybe here or something like that and just try to beam people as you walk in. But I mean, for the most part, I mean, that's only situational. I would say mainly in the actual gameplay, your med's going to probably just be right here down on the ground, just behind your players. So all I can really say for that is that, you know, the mid doesn't really have a lot of cover. So, I mean, to your point, you don't really have all that great of, you know, soldier bomb protection. So you just have to watch out and make sure you're not, you know, in front of your teammates and your scouts are alive or something like that. Because if you lose your scouts, you know they have soldiers, that should be a good call to back up. And then you guys should be out and just playing passive on second, waiting for spawn. You had a question? Somebody else had a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've seen a couple different ones. What is the quickest demo rollout on this map? Like, it's a very simple question, but I've seen a few,
yeah,
so I want to make sure I'm getting it right.
Yeah, so I'll just do left and right side, what I always do. Usually I just roll out. Our team always, like I said before, always rolls out on the right, just because it works the best for us. And we get the best positioning, and usually we can focus their team like really easy and just trap off their pack. So, I mean, the rollout, just one stick here, I'd put like a stick on the wall or something like that. Go through here. One stick there, and then usually you can have like another stick. Maybe if you have enough health, you can tank it. But usually I just get the pack, and then I just start playing on the right and just try to trap off their... I mean, you just play it like any other 5CP map, like if you roll out maybe on like Granary or something like that, and just trap off their pack, and that's the goal, really, because if their demo is slow and, you know, wants to roll out and tries to get pack here, you have a stick there to prevent them. I mean, I don't know why, but almost every single demo I've ever seen who does a rollout is very, very weak. So they always try to get packed. So if I put a stick there, it'll do a lot of damage and, you know, prevent their team from, you know, playing on the right. And once they get packed, then our team just really easily bombs in and just focuses them. And that's probably the worst. I mean, not the worst thing. I mean, for teams, sometimes it works if you play on the right side. But for us, like when teams go on the right side, it's game over. I don't know why. Maybe our soldiers just gotten used to like being able to just focus players on the right. But yeah, choke. If you roll out through choke, is a very spammy point. If you roll on the right, you have a little bit more, you know, room to cover. Like you can play on these boxes and stuff like that. But that's the right rollout. I'll teach you the left one. Wish I had like a number. Yeah, absolutely.
Not
I mean,
everyone's
some
gonna play
teams,
it right anyway.
yeah, just make sure you get a buff before. I mean, you roll out because you could be hurt as well. And I'm trying to do this rollout without any buffs. I would just go left here. You have like a stick, and then through shutter you can just go through and then just play mid here and then get the pack, and then you can trap off there. I would say if you roll out on the left side though, just make sure that if they have soldiers and you know they have soldiers, make sure you trap off stuff like this. Like if you're playing on like process, well, that's pretty common just to trap off high ground, so soldiers will have a hard time high bombing your med and stuff like that. And that's another thing you can do as a demo is just make sure you're aware of like if they have soldiers and if they're going to go on their med, just be careful and make sure you like lay traps and stuff. I always put traps on here too, just because like scouts like to get really forward, and sometimes they use this just to get chip damage and stuff like that, and then they'll jump from here. So if you put traps like above there and then kind of like right here on this mid, then that's really good because that's usually where they end up walking. Yeah, and I would just say also, I mean, your scouts are the bomb denier. So if you have like your scouts just playing with your med, if you're worried about the soldier going on your med, just have your scout, you know, watch for bombs and stuff like that, and your team needs to just make sure that, you know, each person can do their part to make sure that, you know, bombs are prevented. But, you know, he may still get past that, and that's up to your med to just watch positioning and just be aware of soldiers bombing him. But for the most part, I mean, yeah, Stemmel, this is just pretty much like a good place to trap off on if you roll out through choke. And if you guys are playing on the right side too, I would say, you know, this is probably the best place because, you know, your soldier will have to traverse even longer. And so he's in the air for longer, so you guys can see him if you're rolling on the right side versus the left. So yeah, I mean, you guys can just play it how you see fit. That's the cool thing about no restriction. There's no I mean, there's no clear-cut meta for a lot of stuff since there's a lot of classes. You can choose from any. So, I mean, whatever fits your team's playstyle is really the meta for you guys. That is the meta of, no restrictions, just whatever fits best for you. So, if you guys want to run 2 demos and, a scout, a soldier and med, that's totally fine. And if you guys also want to run, like, 2 medics and a scout, soldier, 2 demos, whatever, just, I guess, play around with whatever composition feels right. But for the most part, I recommend, like, usually traditional meta works for us, but if traditional meta is not working for you guys, then you can run, like, more scouts or, 2 demos or more soldiers or whatever you guys want. But at least having 1 scout, a demo on this map, a soldier, of course, and a medic is pretty darn good, I would say, on its own. Any other questions about callouts or anything I can answer? So for crits and stock, I would say if you have like a soldier with battalions backup, that would be a good counter for that. For the crits part, and then since the crits med doesn't have invulnerability, if you guys try to take out the crits med first and then just worry about their other med, that'll be pretty good because, I mean, if they're running crits and they're going to have to heavily focus on either their scout or demo, is probably going to do the most damage with those crits, and your scout, as long as the scout is kind of far away, then you guys should be fine. But countering that, battalions backup does a lot for crits, countering that. On 5CP maps, a little bit different though. If they run like crits and stock on 5CP, I guess you guys can just try to focus them on the mid fight because they're going to have one less person to fight you guys and deny bombs. So as long as you guys are coordinated on that, I think that should be good. For the stock Uber, I think you'll just have to play it a little bit more cautiously, since they'll have 2 meds, one builds faster Uber by like 1/4, I'm pretty sure. You guys will just have to, make sure your med doesn't die, make sure you guys don't drop Uber, playing around your med and just making sure that you guys are counting Ubers and stuff like that. But, I mean, for the mid fight, I think if they run 2 meds, you guys should be able to take them out easily because they only have, 4 people who are really directing you guys. And if you guys have like traditional meta, then you guys should be able to take them out easy peasy. For stuff like pushing last, though, that'll be tough. I personally haven't run into that when I was playing. At least a 5CP map, I've had that all the time on like Upward and Vigil, so I could tell you a bunch about that. But for 5CP, I mean, yeah, just you could run battalions backup if you guys are holding. Pushing is a little bit harder. I would say if they have add, then you should run battalions backup. But if you guys are playing like the mid fight, you guys can just try to run regular stuff. Like you can run gunboats as soldier or something like that. Or if you don't even have a soldier and want to run 2 demos instead, you could also, just try to focus their combo and their med, and then try to drop them before, I guess, they get Uber. That would be a good counter. I would not recommend Vax, really, because just the time that it takes to buff people, unless you're, like, kind of feeling like you're going to turtle on last, like, just kind of sit there and just try to take it all in. Like, maybe if they have full ad for both Ubers, I suppose then you could try to run Vac, and that might be a little difficult though. So I'm pretty sure you guys can find a meta that works. I mean, as long as you guys are, counting Ubers and making sure you focus their crits and Uber, then you should be fine. And it's better too because 5CP they have like 1/6 less fighting power, less DPM. So unless their med is like going syringe crazy, but I don't think that should happen. So yeah. Is there any other questions? Oh yeah, I mean, just in general, like soldiers bombing on this map, like just focusing them. If they roll out choke is really, really good. And then you can have like you can even send like a scout lower. Like if they're all conjugated on the right side, you can like send in 2 soldiers and then your scout can just clean up damage there. And that really, really, really good if your soldiers and scouts coordinate that. That can almost wipe a team. Okay, any questions?
Is there anything to know about the demo roll or the soldier rollout?
For the soldier rollout, here, I would say just maybe I mean, the goal of it depends. I mean, you can have one soldier, you can have two soldiers, you can just do the traditional meta and have like one pop. But I would say like it's good for two soldiers to do the Roma rollout on this map. Usually my pocket does the Roma rollout too, because I don't really see my soldier running shotgun. I mean, both soldiers usually run gunboats or like one has like some secondary. But usually I would just say like kind of roll out with your demo man. I'm not sure the Roma rollout because I do not play soldier, but I would imagine there's something along the lines of just getting there with your demo.
Okay, so basically the same thing then. Yeah,
the Roma should get, I mean, at least he should be faster or on time with the demo. And then the rest of your combo should follow suit, should follow behind, and then you guys can get ready to bomb. It's good to, I know for a fact though, like you can get like a really good positioning on bombs if you come up here and then you just do like a high bomb or something like that. I'm not sure exactly where to bomb from because I haven't paid too much attention to my soldiers on this map, but just know in general for when you come to mid, get ready to bomb or at least watch for, start trying to deny because I guarantee you that soldiers will try to bomb this mid and it happens every time. One thing you could also do is if you're playing Roamer and if you get there really, really fast, rather than bombing into their choke, you can just try to get on top of this little roof here and just try to spam them and just kind of call where they're going to go from. Like if they're playing on the choke, if they're rolling out their choke, you can call the right side and you already have this good positioning. But for the most part, I mean, if you're fast, then that probably means like one of the soldiers, if they have at least one, will be equally as fast as you. So just get ready to, try to like take that high ground. And once you have that high ground, then I think that's pretty much game over for them because you can spam here unless they take you out really fast. But I mean, bomb's really good in this map. Just getting high ground in general, soldier is really good in this map. I mean, if you're up here and everyone's down there, then splash damage is in your favor already. So really, really good. So as long as you guys have coordinated bombs and stuff like that on the mids, and your combos are like focusing people who they need to, you guys are taking care of that soldier carry. I think you guys should be fine on mids. So, but I mean, to your question though, significance, I would say just making sure you get there, get high ground, locking off their combo if they're playing choke or something like that from advancing too far into your guys's or point, just denying point. Any other questions or are we all good? Okay, awesome. If you guys do have any more questions before your scrims, just let me know and I can do my best to answer all of them for you guys, but good luck. Yeah, no problem.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, catch you guys later.